All right, let's talk about the global race for quantum technology. In a field completely dominated by superpowers, we're going to look at how one small nation is trying to build a massive future. And it's not just about cool research, this is about a really unique and very powerful national strategy.
So, you gotta ask, right? In a race this intense, how does a country like Israel not just, keep up, but actually try to carve out a real leadership role? Well, the answer is in this fascinating and totally deliberate design they've come up with. And it all comes down to this idea they call the two-engine model. It's actually a pretty simple concept, but it's incredibly powerful. Think of it like this. One engine is run by the state, and it's all focused inward on national security. The other engine is driven by the market, and it's focused outward on the global stage. Now, these seem separate, but as you're about to see, they are deeply, deeply connected.
Okay, so let's break down that first engine, the sovereignty engine. This is really the bedrock of the entire strategy, and it's all built around defense and, well, self-reliance.
And you have to understand, for Israel, quantum tech is not just some commercial opportunity. It's viewed as being essential for survival. The whole goal is to stay a step ahead of any adversaries and to build this incredibly deep, quantum-proof resilience right into the country's most critical systems.
So how do they organize all this? Well, it's run through something called the Israel National Quantum Initiative, or INQI for short. And this isn't just throwing money at the wall, It's a super focused push built around three core pillars. First, building actual quantum computers. Second, securing communications from future threats. And third, developing advanced quantum sensors for things like navigating without GPS.
And yeah, they are backing this vision with some serious cash. This initial budget, about $390 million, has a very specific goal: to take world-class academic research and turn it into what they call blue and white industrial power. In other words, a self-sufficient, homegrown industry.
Here's a perfect example of this in action. For financial security, the central bank has put out this new rule they've nicknamed the Iron Dome of data. I mean, how great is that? It basically forces all the banks to get ready for the day a quantum computer could break today's encryption. It is one of the most aggressive moves like this anywhere in the world, all to protect their financial system.
All right, so that's the security engine. The foundation is set. Now let's look at the second engine. This is the one that plugs Israel's incredible tech scene into the global market and really brings in the commercial muscle.
Now this is where things get really smart. Instead of having every startup try to do everything, they specialize in what you might call the critical enabling layers. So you've got quantum machines, which is building a kind of universal operating system for quantum computers. Then there's Classic, making it way easier to write quantum software. You have QIDMA, which is totally focused on fixing errors. And Quantum Source, which is building the special photonic hardware needed for computers that can fix their own mistakes. It's not one company trying to be the hero. It's an entire ecosystem, a full stack, working together. It's brilliant.
And it's not just startups. This commercial engine is also anchored by some of the biggest names in tech. I mean, just look at Nvidia. After they bought a company called Mellanox, their hub in Israel became the global center for the superfast networking that is the absolute backbone of AI and quantum data centers. It's basically the critical plumbing for the entire future of computing.
Then you've got Intel, another huge player there. And this is the really critical part. Intel Israel is where the Gaudi AI accelerators were born. These are the chips designed to compete directly with Nvidia. So this puts their innovation hub right at the epicenter of the global AI hardware battle.
And finally, there's Amazon. Its lab, Annapurna Labs, is the brain behind the custom silicon, the chips like Graviton and Nitro that power the entire AWS cloud. And that deep, deep expertise in designing your own custom, high-performance chips, that is exactly the skill set that's going to be needed for the future of quantum computing.
Okay, so we've got the two engines. One looks inward for security, the other looks outward for business. So how does this all play out on the world stage? Well, this is where technology meets diplomacy and some really high-stakes strategy.
$200 million. That's the proposed value of a new joint U.S.-Israel quantum fund. And trust me, this is way more than just an investment. It's a statement, an alliance designed to fuse the best parts of both ecosystems.
So the real goal of this fund isn't just the cash, it's the strategic pairing. Imagine taking the deep tech from an Israeli startup like Quantum Source and matching it with the massive scale of a US player like PsiQuantum. But it goes even further. It's explicitly designed to build a regional tech alliance, what they're calling a blue camp, to counter Chinese influence. And get this, they're openly looking to collaborate with the UAE and Saudi Arabia. That's a potential game changer.
When you put the two engines together,
the geopolitics, the internal strategy, what you see is a fundamental shift in the nation's entire tech philosophy.
And this is the big takeaway. For decades, Israel was known as the startup nation, right? The whole model was build to exit. You create a company just to sell it to a global giant. Now, though, the mindset is shifting to build to last. The goal is to create sustainable, independent Israeli tech companies that can anchor the economy for the long haul.
And all of this leaves us with the final critical question. Can this unique two-engine model actually succeed? Can it really balance the intense demands of national security with the breakneck speed of global commerce to build an independent, lasting quantum power? The strategy is in place, and you can bet the rest of the world is watching very, very closely.